Calling in all my ancestors. Welcome. Chimoge here again. Welcome once again. Thank you to all my returning viewers. For all the new people, here I am. My given name is Chimoge. Let me take off my jacket. Let me just continue as I move. I don't want to be too long here. I didn't actually plan to be down here initially, but there was an emergency um, fire alarm where I was living, so that threw me off. Where I live, but that threw me off. But anyway, I just decided to come to the workstation early. Anyway, given name Chimoge, Ahambu, Moge. Government name Chimoge Chijoke Ibe. Alternate white structured name, which is a longer form of the government name Chimoge Chijoke Ibe Nwoko. Nwoko is the name of my great great grandfather, patrilineal. Ibe was the name applied to his son. Yes. Shout out to my entire patrilineage, especially those who passed away. May the living live up to their example. Amadioha. And implicitly, I'm talking about all the big people. I'll just let you in on a secret. There's no lineage in our planet today. There is no lineage which has members on our planet today that does not include some evil deceased people. Why? That's because the world is broken and it's been broken for quite a while. But again, when you're praying, ignore them. Anytime you say something like Sansoneba, wash them away from this place, they scatter out. And that's all I'll say. You can't run around worshiping the tyrant and then complain when I call upon my blood members to help me deliver a message. The good husband of the people. Anyway, where do I live? I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and that's currently where I stand. That is part of what should naturally be called the Venus of this world. I was born in the Venus of the extreme, at least in terms of the sector. Let me give you some more information. Each of the things, the 49 things that undergird existence, has an emporo, a ball, a sphere, a sector of influence on our larger planet. But in addition to that, there are different sectors which are demarcated differently, and each one is governed over by a different thing. I happen to live in the big sphere of Venus, and then I was born in the sector of Venus, the section of Venus, Obodo Oshimiri. Obodo Oshi Shiner, the sector of the origin of love. You get what I'm saying? I was born there. The one of that thing that lives within the Emporo of Elu, the extreme. High. Yes. The spot I was born, it's known as Southeast Washington, D.C. Yes. Again, people should not have to talk about their exact age, but it's even worse to hide your age. Because of current practices, I'm just going to give my exact birth date. January 2nd, 1998. And yes, that means I'm a son of Capricorn. My matrilineal village is at Benmohafia, and the reference point village for my patrilineage. And at their behest, I just want to say, they keep telling me we were born in Benmohafia. Let that not be a statement that is taken to mean anything weird. Just think about the world today. We don't even have video of 500 years ago. Does anyone have 100% proof of where their lineage was born? I always say, part of the way I know my matrilineage rightfully resides in Eben Mohafia is spiritual. I'll leave it at that. But anyway, right now, my patrilineage, and I want to say this. There's obviously a lot of members of my patrilineage I don't know because the world is broken. Shout out to all the big people there. And everyone else who's not evil, shout out to you as well. Rise and become big. Let me tell you something. I don't want to get into this too much, but I'll just tell you this so you know what I'm saying. Anyone who's a net negative in life is evil. Anyone who's in the middle is onyetiti. Anyone who's a net positive but has a score between 51 and 79, yes, 80 is an A. 51 to 79 in terms of how much they add to life is onyama. They're a soft person. You can also call them a great person. Alma, greatness, softness is complicated. In some contexts, it's not the best. In others, it is. And anyone who's an 80 or above, that's a big person. That's Onyukwu. In this world, we're all meant to be Onyukwu. But in the world today, we have many soft people. Weirdly, we have a lot of people in the middle, as in these people are net neutral. Let's just sit there. And then, of course, we have evil people. Let me turn around. Yeah, so anyway, let's all rise to be big. And yes, I'm Munyuku. But again, no person is perfect. If I ever do something that you think is wrong, begin discourse. Anyway, lots of people in my patrilineage I don't know. For all I know, they're more connected to a different village. But the ones I know and know of are connected to the village of Aji Urata. Just like at Ben Mohafia, that's in West Africa, north of the sea, south of the Sahara, and west of Central Africa. Let me just remind myself of my topic. I've got fired up about other things. There is no such thing as modesty. And yes, I'm referencing most the Christian modesty concept, but of course, that nonsense extends all throughout society. Anyway, let me give two facts about myself before I really get into it. I don't want to be too long. First, I like lobster. The animal we call lobster is known as Afwa Amadioha, the stomach of the greatest man alive, the stomach of the good husband of the people. And you can also call it a Shango's stomach. Think about it. The animal we call a crab, that's just Afwa, stomach, also the soil. Isn't the lobster way cooler than that? And yes, you can eat them, but remember, like all categories of life, do not eat their leaders. 25% of any balanced population of any conception category are the leaders. That is Ndueze, Hapurieze, Riala. But yes, I like lobster. And I also want to say this. I know lobster has a reputation as being expensive, but I've found there are some affordable options. I've seen some stores where they can be bought in a package for like $11. Again, everyone has a different budget, but that is something that most people can do at least every once in a while. So I'll just leave it at that. Anyway, what's my second fact? Hmm. Let me just say this. I like sweet candy. I think everyone does, but every once in a while I meet someone who don't like certain things. For example, I know some people who told me they don't like chocolate. I find that hard to fathom, but let me turn around. Anyway, let me get right into it. There is no such thing as modesty. And this is really a vile topic because a lot of deviancy is spread in the world today casually. And I just want to say this. If you talk about stuff like this to people who are not adults, that is refuse. Let me move. Ha, Amadioha. Now let me just go right to the heart of the issue. This concept of modesty, I think most famously people talk of Christian modesty, but you see all the variations, and the variations exist outside of Christianity as well. This whole concept of modesty assumes many evil things, but I'll just do the two biggest ones I can think of right now. One, it assumes that people who are the victims of vile crimes in the romantic area caused it, and I'll just leave it at that. Because that is the implication of talking about modesty. Because the time I hear about this most is when a crime has been committed. Let me move. The second assumption behind this modesty nonsense concept is that, and I'll just say it, physical intimacy of a romantic nature is inherently bad. And because of that, it must be limited. That is nonsense. And I'm really tired of seeing it. This is what I would call njoku ihe. Let me let you in on a secret. No conception category of animal is inherently bad, but they all have their faults. What is an njoku? That animal in English we refer to as a chimpanzee. My ancestors told me something. Those animals are slow to believe things. They're also slow to process things. At the same time, they're very powerful. But what's their downside? They can misuse their power by being slow to act and slow to think about things. At the same time, they can be obstinate and stubborn, and they can do so as signification because they're slow to acknowledge when they're wrong. So when I'm saying something is in joku ihan, that can mean many things, but one thing it means is that it is disrespectful. It is disrespectful. It is intellectually disrespectful to run your mouth constantly about modesty and Christian modesty. And then you're looking at uwe, ibu on yarala. Let me move. And yes, Njoku is part of the god of thunder. And I'll leave it at that. That's a complicated one. But anyway, let's not overextend the metaphor. I think I made my point. But really, there's not much to this. We just have two categories of people. One, cowards. And I'll leave it at that. We have people who are being cowards. Just be a person. I'm not even going to say be brave. Be a person and stop endorsing this stuff. I don't want to see this refuse. Two, then we have Ezarala, the leaders of evil, who push this nonsense for their own various purposes. Because I'll be honest, I don't think there's one reason why people push this modesty nonsense. But people have an evil end. People want their victims and the victims of their allies to believe they're at fault. They want them to be looking at their clothing and things they weirdly relate to it. Because I'll just say this. One's love life is not intimately tied to one's clothing. Let me move. So these people want the victims of crime to believe they're at fault. And they want them to look at clothing and other strange, irrelevant things instead of just going after crime itself and the criminal. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much. See you next time.